Kia ora, Giants fans, and welcome to another episode of G.I.Antics. And we'll start with some apologies, I think. Long time between drinks here at the Vicona room. And that's just because life got in the way and the season finished and other roles and reality. But we're good to be back and wrap up the season with you. And who better to do that than Mike Fitchett?
It's me.
Hello, Mike. No Phil, because his actual job has got in the way. But so be it. I'm sure we'll hear back from Phil next season. So, Mike, it's been a little while since the end of the season. Racking my brains. It was such a whirlwind of a season to kind of remember what happened, when it happened. So let's talk through it. No structure. Let's just have a yarn about the season and remember what happened in 2024 Nelson Giants. Ups and downs. We'll start with the biggest up, the Rapid League.
Yeah, we've got a championship banner hanging just over my left shoulder that's out of shot, I believe.
I'm going to take you back to January when Rapid League was a new thing. We hadn't seen it at all anywhere, world first. And what were your thoughts about Rapid League then?
Loved it. No, I was skeptical about the Rapid League, concerned probably more about the impact it would have on the NBL game and product, and whether those bench guys would be able to turn around and play effectively in the NBL game. How would that affect our preparation? Selfishly, how would that affect how I prepared for the NBL games as well? But in the end, I think it proved out for every team, everyone I've talked to. Teams loved it. I think the starting five guys probably preferred not to have such a long warm-up. They liked having the short build-up. Real benefits for the team, and obviously player development for our bench guys. Kept our guys engaged all throughout the season. They knew they were going to be playing on the Saturday night as well, not just watching. So really good. Obviously we won it and took the prize money. So that was great, but overall a really positive thing.
The two things that really stood out for me with it were with the ones that were preempted and marketed and sold, where the local players get a better chance, youth development, they get more minutes, all that stuff we knew was coming and did come. The two ones that maybe no one predicted, or maybe someone did, but I certainly didn't, was the one you just mentioned about those guys who were more engaged during training because, well, they know they're actually playing that weekend. They're not just training bodies, right? The other one was that the starters, the connection between the starters and the juniors was better because the starters had something to support and cheer them on. It wasn't just, hey, thanks for preparing us this week. It was, and it was, we're going to watch you and cheer you on and see you coming from my spot and stuff like that. It created a bit more competition. Yeah,
I think traditionally it's been the bench guys who are usually the younger guys in the team cheering on the starters and the 6, 7, maybe 8 guys that are playing the majority of those minutes. Awesome to see, Tommy G or Ben Sheet coaching the team. I'm there helping or assisting and commenting, but the starting five sitting down there and cheering on the boys, and particularly on the road where we don't have that home crowd, we don't have the wider support staff group. There's a real 12 of us or 14 of us, that starting group out there cheering them on. So I think the other thing with the Rapid and putting my general manager hat on rather than my head coach hat on was a real concern around the extra cost it was going to be, travelling more people around the country. But we were super lucky. MBS, ITM and Mike Pero came on board, supported it straight away. So it's a really good product. Well, I think we saw awesome crowds coming in too, particularly second half of the season. People got used to it. People liked seeing the Nelson guys playing a lot. And, we had some pretty talented guys on the floor for our team. So it was usually good viewing. Did you
unearth any gems through Rapid League, or guys who got maybe more NBL minutes because of their performances in Rapid League?
I think Aston Inwood won our Rapid League MVP this year. I knew he could play, but kind of seeing those little things that he did game in, game out. Nick Davidson, Hayden Jones, James Matthews when he played. Ingy obviously had his moments, and probably the best moment of the Rapid League season up in Palmy. But Aston Inwood was the glue of that team, and it was awesome to watch him play in like a mini Sam Dempster kind of role there. That was probably the coolest thing for me.
Yeah, and the crowds were cool. Start of the season, maybe people maybe coming a little bit early, getting there for the second half of Rapid League, and by the end, lots of the crowd getting there for Rapid League to make sure they could see it.
I think we had half full venues and for those Rapid League games late in the season, so really cool.
To the NBL, mixed bag. So got into the playoffs, which was tick. That was priority number one. Came up against Taranaki away, had to stay out on the road, back-to-back games up there. First of all, that must have been strange. Well, how do you prepare for... we had Taranaki the last game of the regular season in New Plymouth, and then had to stay there and do it all again.
Yeah. It was a weird one because from a planning perspective, the positions of the finals weren't locked in until we got to Taranaki. So I think from memory, we only found out that it was only confirmed that we were going to stay in New Plymouth right before our game. The previous game had finished and we knew, okay, we're playing Taranaki again. We were treated really well up there. The Devon hotel we were staying at, great. We're only there for a couple of extra nights, so it wasn't a biggie. And our manager Andy Stevens and our physio Dawn Chalmers did a really good job managing that extended stay. But making the playoffs was priority number one. Like you say, tick that off in sixth position. Funny old end to the season with Theo Akuba going home. I guess we'll talk about him, but Kobe Langley went down with an ankle sprain. It just felt like for the second year in a row, we just didn't go into those last few weeks of the season with a full deck of cards.
Full strength, yeah.
Hard to beat a team like Taranaki, even without Sam Froling, Flynn Cameron, Tobias Cameron, Carlin Davison, probably their best player this year, Mitch McCarron, Elijah Minnie, who did a number on us in the playoffs. So
home court advantage.
Home court advantage was huge and fantastic that the league brought it back this year, but we ran into a bit of a buzzsaw in that game.
Were there any games in the regular season that still haunt you? Ones that got away where you think, oh, that could have meant the difference between fifth and sixth if we just locked in that one and that one. Obviously, the home record was talked about a lot towards the end of the season. Any of those games at the Trafalgar Centre that you go,
Certainly, like the first home game of the season against the Bulls, Luther Muhammad steps off the plane from Finland and hits a game-winning shot. I know that one stayed in my head a little while, how I would have guarded that one a little bit differently. And that was a Bulls team that was under strength. We were under strength. We didn't have Kobe Theo. Sam Dempster was injured. But they came in equally or more so under strength, and they stole one from us. The other ones at home were probably the Hawks loss and the Phi loss, were two games where I thought probably the two games of the year where we didn't bring the most energy and effort compared to the opposition. So to do that on the home floors, to do it anywhere is disappointing, but to do it at home, very disappointing.
Yeah, the Phi one was a bit of a bummer of a night, wasn't it? Conversely, another loss, but the Rams one, the kind of loss that you can live with a bit more.
Late season, we got within three of them at the end, didn't we? And I think, did we have a shot? Or
Gobi had a half court
shot to tie it up, and I think it might have been to win it
by two. Yeah. Great game though, great event and all that. It was just it was two teams going hard at each other, and
and I like we were wearing the retro uniforms that night, and there was a good vibe in the building, and I think Canterbury deserved winners of the title, the best team from go to woe. And won all the awards and deserved to. That game, it was like, oh, okay, at full strength, we can really push these top teams, the Tuataras and the Rams. So when we weren't at full strength, didn't really have a chance. Well, we had a chance, but it was tough. When we're at full strength, we were knocking right on the door.
Flip the coin. The away record was great. The games that you'll always look back on, you go, what a win. For me, it was the one in Wellington. Anytime you win in Wellington is a great win.
Yeah.
Which games have you got to the end of the season you're going, geez, that was impressive?
Definitely Wellington. To go in and win there, we got a trophy on the line when we play Saints, and it's Ranfurly Shield style. It's only when you win in their venue, so we haven't held the Shellcrest Cup for a while. Jordan, still got to find it in your cupboard somewhere, but
your warehouse of trophies that the Saints had.
That one was really good. and quite comfortable in the end, that one. So very pleasing. The other one, we put together a really good performance in Hawke's Bay. And probably defensively, that was our best performance of the year. We held Keanu Rasmussen and Luke Sutherland to very, very tough nights, and we really did a number. I think we won 20, 25 points on their home floor. So those were probably the two road games that were really satisfying.
What did that whole, and it was such an up and down season with that home record and those impressive wins. What did you learn about your team, or what you would do differently next year?
Yeah, I think probably the reflection on the season was we were very nice bunch of team. We got on really well.
Incredibly likable team.
Chemistry was off the charts. Absolute no dramas there, but we were possibly missing an edge at times around certainly defending our home court. But when teams came into our venue, we probably just lacked a little bit of ruthlessness and relentlessness. Like I said, generally we played harder than the other team, but we didn't step on their throat a lot from that competitive aspect. So something to work on for next year.
Playing harder than the other team, I think no one exemplified that more than Dan Greeder. We talk about the 2024 crop of imports, as we colloquially call them. Dan Greeder, Kobe Langley, Theo Akwuba. Some good news about Theo, I guess we can talk about now. He kind of left in semi-mysterious circumstances that we didn't talk about for personal reasons, his personal reasons, but some good news.
Yeah, he basically came to us and was run down. He went to hospital and then received a pretty concerning diagnosis for his health, and he has an auntie who's a doctor in back home in the US, and it was decided pretty quickly that going home was the best place for him to be to get further testing and get a bit more clarity on his medical situation. He went home. He spent about a week in hospital getting a battery of tests, and he's on the improve. He's the initial concerning diagnosis has not come to fruition, which is fantastic.
Great.
He's still dealing with a couple of things, but he's going to be healthy, which is the main thing. So to lose him with 3 games to go in the season, it was the right call from his health perspective, from the club's perspective. Get him home, get his health right. You have to play 5 games to qualify for the playoffs, so we couldn't bring in a replacement at that stage. And you saw, when we played Southland and Callum McRae had an absolute field day.
Yeah.
Dan Fotu was away with the Tall Blacks. It was like 7-foot guy going against a 6'4" and under team. So
semi-D.
Yeah. But Greeder, like you say, from imports perspective, cool to have Greeder back after he was here in 2019 as a 20-year-old, comes back as a 25-year-old. You see his maturity on the court, but off the court as well. Pretty cool to watch. Between him and Naughty, we were always the hardest working team, generally, almost always. Kobe Langley, first year as a pro, like straight from college, pretty fresh in that sort of perspective, but talented player, can score the ball. I think by the end of the season he trusted himself a little bit more in the keyhole. Early on in the season, very much more a perimeter scorer.
He threw down that incredible alley-oop.
Yeah.
I don't think he dunked it again after that, the entire season.
I think he might have got one. Kobe, did you get one? I don't know. I think he might have had one in Palmy, but yeah, maybe. That was incredible.
Yeah.
That was an incredible dunk. Second best dunk of the season for us.
The Caleb Chamberlain AFL one, yeah. Yeah, that was in the same night.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, it was.
With Theo, the question I want to ask then is, did we ever get the best Theo Akwuba, or was he fatigue and low energy with his health issues the whole season?
I think the honest answer is I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He came straight down from Finland, played an 8-month season in Finland, came straight in, played for us for 2.5 months, and was getting better and better, and was getting used to the referees and playing more minutes, and our defense was becoming really, really solid. But yeah, it's possible that we'll watch his career just flourish once he gets his medical stuff sorted, which he's on the track to do. So the other thing I realised too during this, Dan Fotu went away with the Tall Blacks, and now we had the opportunity to feed the ball to Theo a little bit more, and probably discovered a little bit too late that he could be quite effective for us. So, wishing all those guys the best. Theo's back home recovering. Dan's in Illawarra getting ready for the ANBL season, and Kobe's just arrived in Hungary for the European season. So, looking forward to following those guys.
That's pretty cool. And you mentioned Dan Fotu, obviously not an import at Tall Black, but an import to Nelson, as it were. He was a fan favourite, a team favourite, and pretty good on the court too.
Yeah, he was a great pickup for us, and very skilled, big, and ended up being our best 3-point shooter, which, best of the worst team in the league from three. But, I think he stretched his overall game a little bit down here, and great, one of the all-time great guys. Yep. Our local guys love playing with him, and we'd have him back in a heartbeat. He's up in Japan now, and won't be available until halfway through the season, so we'll see what happens there. But great human.
Alex McNaught came back for season 5,
I think.
Some of those younger guys who we didn't see too much of in the NBL, James Matthews, Caleb Chamberlain, saw a lot of them in Rapid League, Cohen Williams, Adam Barton. Happy with how they progressed? Yeah,
generally. I mean, the results of the Rapid League were excellent, but I think with James and Hayden, obviously they had the amazing experience with the under-17s. I think that Rapid League and NBL experience helped them be more comfortable at that level. Adam Barton's now been pulled into the under-18 New Zealand team. He's on a plane to Jordan as we speak, I think. So the development of those guys is really pleasing, and the coaches at the junior level in Nelson doing a hell of a job. It's not just Hayden, but he gets a lot of the publicity, but there's another crop of guys coming through, and I think we'll see probably a bunch, 2 or 3 new local young guys on the team next year.
Talk about Hayden, obviously the big news in recent weeks. He's committed to Wisconsin University, where Kurt Penny went, and is now a coach there, which is pretty cool for New Zealand basketball nerds like me. Massive school, big program, had success. I mean, pretty cool for Hayden to be playing in front of 2,000 people at the Trafalgar Centre, and now he's going to whatever that massive...
Almost as good, 20,000.
20,000 arena holds in Wisconsin.
Won't have the atmosphere of the Trafalgar Centre.
The lollies won't be as cheap, that's for sure. But what a superstar he's trending to become. What is he like to coach? As a teammate, as a young man? I mean, we both coached him, but for you, from a Giants point of view.
You want to coach guys that love the game, and that's not a given even at NBL level. Some people
international play. NBA level. There's guys who are clocking in, clocking out. And
they just do it because they're good at it.
Yeah.
Right, being good at it and loving it isn't the same thing. So Hayden loves the game. It's actually, I spent half the season arguing with him and Phil about, can we maybe do a little bit less basketball or do different basketball? And you can't keep him off the court. Yep. If he's training on a Friday night and we've got a game on a Sunday, he's in scrimmaging with Carlo at Jack Robbins on a Saturday. And so love of the game, obviously a high skill level, great around his teammates. He's a humble guy. I'm really looking forward to following his progress, and just deserts what happened at under-17s for him and the work he's put in. So really happy for Phil, Cat, and Hayden. And
will we see him next year? Well, how does his college
work?
At
this stage it looks like we will. He might not make it through the whole season, but I think we'll get him for...
Because the college year, if you're just going to study, starts in September in America, right?
Yeah.
The end of summer. I guess they'll want the basketball team in a month or two early.
A little bit of pre-season training for them. So I'm hoping we'll have him for half or 2/3 of the season, but will we have him for the pointy end of the season? I'm not sure, but...
We'll get a chance to send him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I think for him, the big focus this off-season is... he's had school basketball, rep basketball, Giants. Now he needs 4 or 5 months of in the gym, lifting weights, shooting thousands of jump shots, really sharpening up his skills in his body, because after that he's essentially going to be a pro basketballer for however long he wants.
Come back and buy the Giants.
There you go.
And give us all jobs. Hayden. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's look off the court. Some awards came our way. The biggest one being social media award. First time we've won that? It's the first time, isn't it?
No, we're back to back.
Oh,
social media awards. So.
Apologies to Jamie and the crew. Well, shout out Jamie O'Donnell, Danielle Eagle, joined this year. Phenomenal work. Just phenomenal work. And we were talking to producer Todd earlier about that, and what did he say? What? No contest. No contest.
There's probably one other club around that thinks it's a contest, but yeah, I think it was a fairly comprehensive victory in the end. But
pretty
Jamie,
cool. And only one team can win the championship, so we got to win off the court as well as on the court. There's all these things that we say, but that is a reward for hard work. And this the players too. They show up for the camera. Dan Fotu's work at the airport. You know, it's a bit of a grind when you just finished training. You've got a game coming up, and all of a sudden there's can we quickly put this phone in your face and get you to do something funny? Yeah. You know, so big thanks to the players for playing along and being a part of it. But I think they enjoyed it. Yeah. And they get the kicks out of it too, and they get to share it and grow their followers and everything.
Well, I think it's important, you know, Jamie and Danielle, who put all that together, are part of the team. Yeah. You know, as much as the players, the coaches, the manager, they're part of the Giants team. So,
podcast host.
You know, not so much. I think it's important, very important. Obviously, your social channels now, and that's how we do a lot of our marketing and advertising. We sold out 9 out of our 10 games again, and that's a huge part of it. So, fantastic effort by them. And so we won the social media team award, but Danielle also won the content creator award as an individual award. So. Awesome for her. That might be our hardest recruitment next year, trying to bring her back on board.
It's awesome the league has those awards.
Oh, really good.
That's really good, like promoting the jobs around the league as well, not just the players and the coaches.
Well, like you say, the Rams take away the trophy, we take away the Rapid League, but that doesn't mean other people haven't been successful. You know, like we joke about the Saints, but they had great stuff all year. Like all the teams are putting in time and investment into that space. But, you know, you got GM of the Year, you got Club of the Year, you got all sorts of things, and we should recognise those successes.
Speaking of other clubs, you mentioned it earlier, the Canterbury Rams won grand final. I was there. Bit of a shame it's at Cal Stadium, but it was, and they got the win. Deserved champions.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, go to woe. Probably the best team in the competition. The Tuatara did a number on them in Christchurch during the season.
Two teams who did it very differently. Yep. The Tuatara we spoke about during the season, top heavy roster, top 6-7 guys, taking up almost all the salary cap, and then a lot of amateurs on the bench. Big names in Rob Lowe, Corey Webster, Cam Glidden, Tom Vodanovich, like big names. I'm missing one there. Ruben Tarangi, potentially the biggest of the names. Whereas the Rams had imports coming off the bench, had a squad the length of State Highway 1. Like it was a long old roster list. Using that Christchurch club ball scene to its best with guys coming in and out as well. So it was pretty cool to see two teams do it a completely different way and make the final. Yeah,
I think the Rams can be applauded and Juddy can be applauded for how he handled their depth. Because even when you look down 16, 17, 18 in the roster, you're looking at New Zealand junior reps. Yeah, you know,
it'd be pretty easy just to get stuck in your ways of these are my 7 guys and my 3 youngsters, but he rotated a fair bit. Everyone got a bit of game time throughout the season.
Yeah, and interesting too, I thought Kaya Isaac had a very, was he most improved player for the season? Or?
Yeah, he was in the conversation.
He was in that conversation. Maybe Taylor won that, but you know, Kaya rapid legal season, playoffs come along, goes into the starting lineup, and the Rams move their imports onto the bench. So really good flexibility there, good depth across the roster. Like I think the Rams right now, the obviously they've won the 2 titles on court. They're the premier club in the league. They're ticking a lot of boxes off the court as well. So good job by them. We're all trying to catch them in 2025.
Auckland Tuatara 3 finals in a row. Tough.
Yeah.
Awesome to have a strong Auckland team, as much as we all want to beat them because it's Auckland, but it is awesome to have a strong Auckland team. Auckland should be strong, given the catchment area and the depth they have there. Rob Lowe, we know him very well. I think he's lost something. I was at the grand final. He told me afterwards at the airport, I think that's like 6 straight finals he's lost. He lost with the Breakers, he lost with Melbourne United, he lost 3 with the Tuatara, so it might be 5 straight finals. I said to him, hey, some guys don't play a whole career and don't get to any finals, and you've got to 5, and he's won one somewhere, Melbourne United or somewhere. He's won one before, but Yeah, that's tough.
Hey, look, we finished 6th and got knocked out in the first game of the playoffs. I would much rather be
make the final, right?
We're the Tuatara. And that's the
Exactly.
one, like, watching the Olympics and the chat about, in the basketball, would you rather win the bronze or the silver? Because when you win the bronze medal game, everyone's happy. But when you lose the gold medal game,
True.
you're, God. But, of course, you'd rather have a silver medal in your pocket than a bronze medal. So, Tuatara can be pretty proud of their season. You know, they integrated Dalton, Ueli, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, apologies, Braden.
Yuli, I believe.
Ueli, in mid-season to give them a little bit of that depth. But Aaron Young does an amazing job there. It's sad to see him having moved away from the club now and on to different things, but to get to 3 finals in a row is incredible. So, I expect they'll be pretty strong again next year.
You mentioned Aaron Young leaving. Fair few potential coaching vacancies out there. We obviously don't know all of it, but you hear the scuttlebug. And Aaron's obviously off to move on to Perth in a more full-time capacity, if I'm correct, or at least to commit a little bit more over there in the Australian NBL. We don't know what's happening with a few clubs. Some of the clubs who, over the past few years, have kind of had a coach come in for just a season and then move up the Hawke's Bays of the world.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Will they be back? There's certainly some unknowns out there in the coaching.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to speculate, Hugh.
You'll be back, though.
I'll be back.
Yeah, good. We know we can lock that one.
I'll be back. I'm not going anywhere. But, I think a little bit of churn is normal. I mean, that's the same for every team's roster. Things churn over, and we saw some new coaches come in this year with Sebastian Gleim, who was really good with the Bulls.
Animated.
What's that?
Animated.
Oh, his defensive stance was the best in the league. He should have. I was voting for him for Defensive Player of the Year. But he's a very quality coach, knows his stuff, and he got really good results out of that Bulls team. Matt Lacey came into the league. Sam Gruggan came into the league. It's cool to see, as for myself, different challenges, I've coached against Juddy for 3 or 4 years now, and obviously know him from Breakers days and love going against him. But to go against a new coach with something, what are they going to do? It's a bit of a different challenge. So, it'll be interesting.
Let's look ahead to next year. What changes, if any, can the fans expect? Let's start with going to the Trafalgar Centre. There's this talk of another team coming into the league that went public just a couple of weeks ago about an Indian option.
Yep.
Tell us about that. That's because it's quite hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, the Indian National Basketball League, the INBL, they are trying to do a big push. And basketball's the number one growing sport amongst youth in India, and obviously their population's incredible. 1.5 billion people or something like
Most
that. I might have
populous
shortchanged
country in the
there.
world. Yeah.
So I think there's some savvy business people in that country trying to build the basketball league. They've got some connections in Australia, which led to them some connections in New Zealand, and looks like, it hasn't been confirmed, but the chatter is that there'll be a team in the league next year. So
an Indian team based in New Zealand.
Based in New Zealand. So we won't be travelling to Delhi
Mumbai,
for a
Delhi,
game.
Yeah. They're pretty cool, though.
That would be wonderful. But we'll be going, they'll be based somewhere in New Zealand. That's to be confirmed. And it'll be, so I guess we'll go from 20 games to 22 games, 10 home games to 11 home games, and a bit of a, just a different flavour and mix of basketball players, and a lot of stuff to be confirmed in that space.
Yeah.
First being,
it sounds
happens,
mental,
but
it's not completely unprecedented. It is with India. We have Moana Pacifica, for example, in Super Rugby, and I know we have a massive Pacifica community and a lot more ties, I guess, politically and everything to the Pacific Isles, but not dissimilar concept, right? We do have a huge Indian community in New Zealand, so having an Indian basketball team wherever they are, it'll be interesting.
And it could, who knows what connections that between India and New Zealand, what that opens up for players, for coaches, for different people to move between the two leagues. Who knows?
Because we sometimes forget we're quite a small blip in the basketball world, because I think we get so caught up in with rugby and stuff. We're massive, but in the basketball world, we're a small little blip on the radar, right? Whereas and India are too at the moment. So maybe it's a match made in heaven. Who knows? Yeah,
it'll be good. But so different changes for next year. Where Trafalgar, there'll be 11. If this team comes in, there'll be 11 games. So the challenge will be for us to sell out 11 games. We've seen the draw. Looks like possibly a few more afternoon games than this year, which is great.
Good for
great
kids.
for families.
Yep.
We are trying to find a way to put more seats in the stadium to host a few more people. We know we have to turn away a bunch of people every week, so if we can squeeze 300 or 400 more seats in there, that'd be fantastic. But few things, we hear people with the canteen line needs to speed up and things like that. Like we need to make some small changes, but we're pretty happy with how we run our game night, and I think we'll keep improving in that space too.
Roster wise, I know it's early doors and you'll be just piecing together your roster for next year, but do you have a rough concept, a rough strategy of how you're going to attack it?
Yeah, I think we're always going to skew local. So locking in those local Nelson guys, the young guys, the guys coming through the school system. Maybe can we get a couple of local guys back to bolster the roster a little bit? We've sent a bit of talent out into the league in the last few years, so can we get some of those guys back? And then, I'd love to have Alex McNaught back. I hope that works. And then that Dan Fotu, that high-level Kiwi starter, like I said earlier, he's going to be in Japan till whenever. Do we look at someone else there or do we wait for him? It's a lot of balls in the air at the moment.
Yeah. You talked about schools. I think that's a good time for us to move on to Whakatū Focus.
Let's.
Bit to talk about. Since the end of the Giants season, there's been a bit going on because we're kind of at the end of the representative season as well. The club ball season's finished. It's just schools continuing at the moment. So we'll start with the rep season. Obviously, straight after the season, Phil and I talked about it a lot. We went away to the under-18s.
Yep.
Went back to back. Mm-hmm. Kind of anticlimactic.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You guys really did a number on those teams.
Yeah, it was this really strange. It was a great week. Absolutely loved it. Awesome group of young men and awesome team chemistry. Super fun in the capital city. But yeah, we kind of went thinking it was going to be harder than the year before, but it didn't turn out that way. I think we won. The closest margin was 27 points.
I would say significantly easier than the previous year.
It was,
Yeah.
Like we didn't really get a scare. But Hayden Jones and James Matthews, fresh off a plane from doing so well in Turkey with going to the semi-final of the World Cup with the under-17s New Zealand team, straight into the second game of the tournament.
Yeah.
Classic Phil Jones. The whole preparation, the whole 3 months leading up to it. Oh yeah, we won't play Hayden and James on the first day. They'll get an extra day off, rest, and then we'll bring them off the bench. Boom, boom, boom. That was the plan, Phil. The whole time, the whole plan. Classic Phil Jones. When they arrive, he goes and picks them up from the airport. I get a text saying they're going to start. Literally, he picked them up from the airport and drove them straight to the stadium while I was minivanning the rest of the team.
What did we win that game by?
Oh, 50 plus.
And how many minutes did Hayden and James play?
Hayden would have played 30 plus.
Yeah. Get those reps in, though.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it worked. Hayden was an absolute superstar.
You can't argue with the results.
Exactly.
You cannot argue with the results.
Hayden was a super. So they all were. It was great. A great win. And for Nelson to go back to back, like we said before, the last time before the 2023 championship, the Nelson won a age grade championship was you in 2000.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago.
Mecca, and was that the under 23s? Under 20s.
Under 20s, yeah.
Yeah, so long time ago. So can't take it for granted when you win one and then you win the other. It's like, oh, well, it's normal. Well, it's not really.
No.
So shout out to Phil, coaching that team.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Yeah. I think the other one there, I only caught the last couple of games that were live streamed, but Elijah Inwood and Cooper Adam I thought were exceptional.
Yeah.
And inside, Jerome Sinclair and Jack Mellor doing a bit of a...
Jackie Mel, yeah.
Yeah, doing good work there too. So, like I say, lots of talent coming through.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great week. So, cool to have that group of Nelsonians coming through. To club ball, again, Hayden Jones show.
Yeah.
50, put 50 up in the final.
Yeah.
To beat Nelson College. That's how it should be. I'm glad that both Nelson and the Nelson College team and the Waimea College team are in the final. Because, they're kids and we're men. And so because I play for one of the Night Riders and the other teams. But they train like 6 times a week.
Yeah.
They should beat us. And they do. And it's great. And we love playing against them. We played Nelson College in the semi-final lost in overtime. I had a shot to win the game at the end of regulation.
Talk us through it.
I don't want to.
Yes, you do.
Tomming was coaching us that day.
Yep.
And called a timeout. 1.2 seconds on the clock. The play was for Ali Granger.
Obviously.
Who was hot.
Yep.
And had been all season. I think second top scorer in the league after Hayden.
Yep.
He ran a baseline screen for me. I was supposed to just get out of the way, and then Ali come up.
Tactically sound.
Yeah, Ali come up through an elevator
to
the top and shoot a three. Ben Jeffrey, hard of hearing at the best of times. Not wearing his aid during the game. Just throws the ball to me straight away. I'm on my way to court too. That's how far out the way I was getting. I catch it, turn around jumper, baseline jumper,
wet,
airball.
Oh,
by 3 or 4 feet. Sure. Yeah. So a few laughs.
Yeah.
From the Nelson College bench, because obviously I spent a bit of time coaching Nelson College early in the season with Sam.
But it was a tied ball game.
Tied ball
at that stage.
No pressure.
Okay, that's fine.
And then we lost in overtime. And I should mention that James Matthews was sick and not playing. So they were missing their star player. So James was just coming back from illness in the final, and they had a pretty good game against Waimea College.
Yep.
I mean, it took a 50 piece from Hayden Jones to beat them by 10, I think, in the end, or 8 to 10 in the end. So
yeah, I came down and watched that game, and it was good crowd in, good atmosphere, and 50 and 22. I think Hayden had, and he's liable to do that. But I'm looking forward. Both those teams are going down to South Island tournament this week to qualify for nationals. Christ College and Christchurch very strong, but I'm hoping I'd like to see a replay of that club ball.
I think they're due to meet in the semi-final if all goes well.
Semi-final would be great. So if we can get first and third in that tournament, that's a hell of a result.
Yeah, top 5 go through to national. So we expect to see both of them there, which will be pretty good. School ball, they just talked about that. It's continuing. Tupu League. Here's an interesting one for Giants fans to keep an eye on. It's a new initiative from Basketball New Zealand, not Sky this time, Basketball New Zealand. Some of you will remember Division 2 back in the day, the Northland Suns?
Nelson Suns.
Who was the Northland team that Perry used to play for? Caltex something.
Hard to say.
Anyway, all those teams.
They might have been the Suns as well.
Yeah, I think they might have been. That Div 2 thing combined with what has been the under-23s, bit of a worry that the under-23s just kind of turned into a bit of a piss-up weekend in recent years. So Dylan Boucher, Basketball New Zealand said, right, let's actually get a genuine Division 2 or league that bridges the gap between when you finish university and you haven't...
Or high school.
And you haven't yet made it to the NBL yet. You don't just give up and go, I'll just play club ball. So it's that level above. So here in Nelson, Carlo Riccio, Giants Championship winner, former coach of Naylor College, will be taking over coaching that team. So it'll be pretty cool to see. I think we start with a semi-local qualification tournament against regions around us, and then you go through that, you go to the national one, which Basketball New Zealand run. Yeah,
it's a great initiative. I grew up playing Nelson Suns, 2 or 3, maybe 4 years playing the Suns, second division, travelling around the South Island and playing North Otago, Kaikoura, Canterbury B, and Southland. It was great, and learn a lot about being on a team with men and playing at a good level of competition. So real good to have that buffer for those guys. I hope a couple of perfect kind of league for an Ernie Kerr or a Caleb Chamberlain to get some more basketball that time of the year, rather than just be training all the time. It'd be great for those couple of guys, whereas the school kids get a lot of basketball, but Caleb, Ernie, Aston, those kind of guys, another chance to play hoops. So cool initiative.
Keep an eye out, Giants fans. We're nearly at the end of what will be the last G.I.Antics for the 2024 season. When will we be back? Don't know.
Who knows?
Might be towards December.
Oh,
potentially. Like if things start ramping up on the recruitment front and the membership front, etc. Or it could be earlier in the new year. We'll keep in touch on Giant socials. It would be remiss of us not to finish with a shot clock. Slightly different shot clock.
Reigning champion
of the shot clock. Although again, that's pretty hard to quantify.
Not really. I got the top score.
I gave you an underarm serve to start the whole thing off. Right, we're going. You get 24 guesses. To name the top 20 points per game scorers in the South NBL this year.
Top 20.
Yep. So you got 4. You can get 4
wrong.
4
misses.
Yep.
And you've got the list in front of you.
Yep. I know it.
You know it in your head.
Minimum 8 games played.
Oh, that's vital information. So
Yep.
we've got Luther Muhammad,
Yes. Second.
Corey Webster,
Yes. In there.
Yeah, I should probably do this with some sort of process. Rob Lowe,
Bobby Lowe. Yep.
Tom Vodanovich,
Yes. 19.2 points per game.
and I've said Luther Muhammad already.
You have?
Excellent. I'm going to go for Sam Timmins.
First miss.
Okay. Philip Carr.
Second miss. He's 21st.
Oh, that's.
Oh, you only got two misses.
disappointing.
Two misses to
I'm
play
working
with.
my way down the league, mate. Isaiah Moore,
Number 1.
Jordan Natai.
No.
Oh, he's not in there.
26th.
Oh, yikes.
One miss to play with.
Okay. So let's go Dan Greeter. Let's keep it simple
Fourth.
for a second here. We'll go Lockie Albrecht.
Yes.
We'll go Taylor Brook.
No.
Oh,
You're out.
That's really disappointing.
Yeah. I think
However,
you got-
I still won the
I think you
title.
got 6. Isaiah Moore, Luther Muhammad, Mustafa Heron. Didn't get. Dan Greeter, Isaiah Liafa,
I was done in by my own process, wasn't I? I was working my way down the league.
Kimani Lawrence.
It didn't work.
A lot of
It didn't
South
work.
Islanders. Sam Froling, you got Corey Webster, Lockie Albrecht,
Yeah.
Bob Lowe, Ben Henschel,
Yeah.
Tom Vodanovich, Ben Eyre,
Yeah.
Keanu Rasmussen, Dan Fotu,
Yeah.
Tohi Smith-Milner, James Moores, Vance Jackson, Ty Webster, Troy Baxter.
I should have just said all those names instead of start working from the top to the bottom. Yeah, no, that was poor.
Oh, you
strategy.
started a winner, finished a loser. That's good from you.
Even Phil would have beat me on that one.
Would he?
Probably not.
He would have panicked. Although there's no time actually, so he might have got it. Hey, Mike, appreciate you coming in and wrapping up the season for us. We'll be in touch, Giants fans. Stay with us on social media and keep an eye out for announcements to come as we look forward to the 2025 Sal's NBL season.